Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade might just be the best Switch 2 game I've played so far. I got hands-on with it at Gamescom, and after an hour in handheld, I walked away incredibly impressed. In fact, Square Enix, they asked me after the session what I thought of the experience, and my comment was simple. It is perhaps the most impressive looking game I've seen so far on Switch 2. This, in my opinion, is very quickly about to become a demo piece for the hardware, right alongside Cyberpunk 2077. And today, I want to run you through what I experienced. And before we do get into this, don't forget to hit subscribe. We are still a smaller channel, and every click helps a huge amount and helps us to keep covering the biggest of Switch 2 releases. So what is this game? And you probably already know, but let's just set the stage just in case. Now, Final Fantasy VII Remake is Square Enix reimagining of the classic 1997 RPG. It isn't just a remaster this, it is a full-scale rebuild, so think modern visuals, reworked real-time combat, an expanded script, and in this version, all of the DLC starring Yuffie, that's from the start. This game just feels both familiar and brand new, and that's what I love about it. And part of what makes this remake so much more than just a visual upgrade, it's the way it retells that story. Now, without diving into spoilers, you play as Cloud Strife, a mercenary and ex-soldier who gets pulled into a resistance group called Avalanche. They're fighting back against the Shinra Corporation, and that is the company draining the planet of its life force. It is a story that mixes huge action set pieces with more intimate character moments. And Remake just generally does an incredible job of fleshing out those early hours of Midgar into something far more detailed. Even in just the hour I played, those moments with Barrett, Tifa, and Jesse, it reminded me why this story has lasted decades. So yeah, that's the setup. But how does it actually feel in your hands? And yeah, that's what I got to find out at Gamescom. So yes, a handheld is where I spent 99% of my time. An hour straight with Cloud and the opening Midgar sections behind closed doors with Square Enix. I also got to play the first boss fight, docked, out on the show floor, so that definitely gave me a little taste of both setups. Now just to be clear, the footage you're seeing here isn't from my play session. I wasn't allowed to film during that hands-on, so Square Enix, they were kind enough to provide this capture, which represents the same build I played. And honestly, this might be the sharpest, smoothest experience I've seen yet on Switch 2. The visuals are stunning, sharp character models, detailed environments, and lighting that really gives Midgar the oppressive industrial atmosphere that it deserves. At one point, the guy sitting next to me actually leaned over and asked if it was running at 60 frames per second. Now it isn't, they've confirmed 30, but it is so stable and so smooth that it feels incredible. That's how polished it is. The combat feels fantastic on the hardware too. If you've never played this version of Final Fantasy VII before, the system blends real-time swordplay and magic with a slowed-down tactical mode where you can line up abilities and spells. Now on Switch 2, it never stuttered once during my demo. Every swing of Cloud's Buster Sword, every explosion of magic, every character swap mid-battle, it was rock solid. And that matters because even a small performance hiccup in this system, it can ruin the flow. Here, it was flawless. And performance wasn't just about battles, the environments held up too. Now I'll be honest, going in I was kind of worried about Midgar. It's dense, it's vertical, it's absolutely packed with detail. Not exactly easy to pull off on handheld hardware, but image quality held up beautifully, textures looked clean, signage and small details were fully legible, and the character models looked crisp. Square Enix clearly built this with the Switch 2 in mind, and you can feel the care and the effort in the way it runs. This all said, with any Gamescom demo, I do want to say here, there's always going to be a caveat. This is a controlled slice of the game. Larger areas later on might push that system harder. But here's the thing. Unlike a lot of show floor demos where the game is preloaded and you just kind of hop into the middle, this one had me start fresh from the main menu. Square Enix literally just told me to pick up the system and hit new game. To me, that says they're confident in what they have. This wasn't smoke and mirrors. It actually felt like it is the full build. And this is where I think fans should be really excited. Final Fantasy VII Remake isn't just polishing nostalgia, it reinvents it. The original game told its story through text boxes and static backdrops. Here, those moments are fully voiced and fully acted, with cinematic cutscenes that give weight to every interaction. Characters who were once little more than a distraction now feel alive, with personalities, quirks, and emotions that come through in every single line of dialogue. The combat system as well, another reinvention. Where the original used turn-based menus, Remake balances real-time action with tactical decisions. You're not just mashing attacks here. You're swapping characters on the fly, managing abilities, building meters, lining up devastating limit breaks. For veterans of the original, it's going to feel fresh without losing the strategy. For newcomers, it feels accessible and exciting in a way that, look, older turn-based systems, sometimes they can't manage that. Now, I actually prefer turn-based personally, but I get it. And then finally, visually, it's really hard to overstate how much of a leap this is over that original. Midgar has always been one of gaming's most iconic locations, but here it looks like you would imagine, basically. Neon signs glowing through the smog, oppressive machinery towering over the slums, tiny details hidden in every corner. And on Switch 2, that atmosphere comes through. Not a compromised version, the real thing. So for me, yeah, the big thing then, what stood out most was how natural it felt. This wasn't a blurry, scaled-down handheld version of a console game, something we've kind of gotten used to with the aging Switch 1. This felt like the full experience, running the way it was meant to. That's not something I've been able to say about ambitious ports on Nintendo hardware for a long time. And for some extra context here, I also own this game on Steam Deck, and comparing the two, the Switch 2 version I played was a notable step up. The first thing I did when I got home was boot up that Steam Deck. This Switch 2 build looked sharper, ran smoother, and honestly just felt like the more polished, portable experience. So yeah, walking away from Square Enix, I wasn't just impressed, I am now incredibly excited. Excited for this release, and excited for what it means for Switch 2's future. Because if Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade can run like this, I think it sets a new standard. This could be, again, one of the showcase titles for the system. This, the kind of game you point to when people ask, well, what can the Switch 2 really do? Because right now, for me, this game might just be the best answer. All right, let me know in the comments if you're looking forward to this one. Also, if you do have any questions, feel free to drop them down there. I'll try and get back to as many as I can. And if you enjoyed this one, do me a favor and subscribe. Helps out the channel a huge amount. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers all.